I struggled with who I was going to vote for a while. Why? Was it because Mitt Romney, should we start another war in the Middle East? It's a good question. Should we give the rich another 20% tax cut and take away the estate tax? No, of course I wasn't considering Mitt Romney. But I live in a non-swing state, so I considered third-party candidates. And the person who matches up with my ideology the best is Rocky Anderson. He's a true progressive. He's from the state of Utah, of all places. He was the mayor of Salt Lake City. We had him on the Young Turks several times. And it's not just that he's a progressive. For example, honestly, Jill Stein of the Green Party is to the left of me. And there are some positions that she holds that I don't agree with. And so I was more comfortable voting for Rocky Anderson, who wound up not getting a lot of traction as the race went on. Whereas Jill Stein is polling anywhere from half a point to even 2 points in some states. And I get that a lot of liberals will be voting for her because they were disappointed with President Obama. But I decided finally that I've got to do what I call an intellectually honest vote. And everybody can take this in different ways. And Anna earlier today pointed out to me that it is a little ironic to call it intellectually honest because honestly, the guy I would want is Rocky Anderson, right? But what I mean by that is I've got to vote in a realistic way, the way that I would vote if I was in a swing state, because that is the real decision before this country. And I'm doing a show, obviously, and I'm talking to all you guys all across the country and all across the world. And so it's playing games for me to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to be cutesy and vote this way, but you guys should vote for Obama. And so I'm going to vote the way I would if the whole election was on the line. And I'd vote for Obama. Why am I happy with him? Anybody who watches this show knows I'm not. I just got asked in an interview what I think President Obama is going to do in his second term. Here was my answer. What he did in his first term. He was center-right. He's pro-establishment. He will continue to be that. My guess is he will approve the Keystone XL pipeline, the northern half of it. He's already approved the southern half. He will do every corporate-sponsored trade agreement he can get his hands on, including that nonsense one in Panama that they did where the banks get to use it as a tax shelter. It's crazy. There was no reason. It provides us no economic benefit, but he did it anyway because he's center-right. He's not a progressive. Will he stop doing drone strikes? Of course he won't stop doing them. I mean, it's not just drone strikes. It's signature strikes where we don't even know who we're bombing. So it's not that I'm full of hope for President Obama. My God, if he gets reelected, he doesn't have to worry about election. Then he's going to bring us change. No, the only way in the world that he brings us real change is if we make him. And if circumstances change so much in the world that being the consummate politician that he is, he moves to the center because he has to. He moves to the place where the rest of the country is because there's a new reality. So as a politician, he can be pushed, but that is not his natural inclination. Nonetheless, I am going to vote for Obama. Why? Well, for these reasons. Number one, the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is enormously important, and he has put two progressives on there, and if the Republicans were in charge, they would put in massive right-wingers. That's enormously relevant for Roe versus Wade, which hangs on just one vote. People think it's not realistic. It's enormously realistic that Roe versus Wade would be overturned. They just need one Supreme Court justice. But also for money in politics, the thing that I care most about, Citizens United, that also goes to the Supreme Court. So we would have a deregulation disaster under Romney. What does that mean? He would deregulate the banks, which are already deregulated, and then they will take risks that will, I believe, crash our economy. So I put that at number two. Income inequality. He will give more tax cuts to the rich, which will be a disaster. Not just because it's unfair, but again, because we have great income inequality before the Great Depression, before 2008. Under Romney, we certainly will have it. We have it under Obama, but it'll be made even worse under Romney. Why? If you give the rich a 20% tax cut, well, obviously you're going to have more income inequality. And the more you have that, the more we lead to economic instability. Fourth, the deficit. Republicans claim that they're great at the deficit, but in fact they are horrible at the deficit. All they do is add giant chunks to it. Why? Because they're obsessed with giant trillions of dollars worth of tax cuts. I'm actually an economic conservative in that way. I do care about the budget being balanced, and Romney's plan would make it much, much worse. And finally, another war in the Middle East. Are you kidding me? We can't have that under any circumstance. So the thought that if you accidentally elect Romney, whether you vote for him or you vote for somebody that winds up taking votes away from Obama, means that we might go to war with Iran. In fact, we would be very likely to go to war with Iran if Romney's elected. You just can't do it. Now, I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea. Just because you make this choice in the short term, or I make this choice in the short term, it does not mean that that's the only thing we do. And we go, well, okay, well, there's nothing we can do. We just give it to Obama and we move on. No, you fight for justice all throughout in the midterm and the long term. So next time there are primaries, and they should have primaried Obama. I know that sent all Democrats, into a tizzy. Oh my God, how can you do that? Well, you should do that because it would pull them to the left, which is actually the center of the country. You should do that to all the Senate candidates and the congressional candidates. That's your midterm option so that you can vote for an actual progressive when the elections come around. And progressives don't hurt your chance of winning the general election. They help it because according to the polls, the country is fundamentally progressive. If the candidates take more progressive positions, they're more likely to win, not less likely to win. And finally, the real fight is not at the presidential level. It's not at the Senate level. It's to get money out of politics. That's what we have to spend most of our time and energy on. I'm answering this question because it's the question of the day. And obviously, presidential elections are important and they have tremendous ramifications. But overall, what's much more important is that we get that unlimited corporate money out of politics and we publicly finance our elections so that all of our politicians, Republicans and Democrats, are not bought off. So you do what you must in the short term, but fight for the midterm and the long term so we can get real justice in this country.